The Ghana Lepers Aid Committee has marked the 2022 World Leprosy Day at the Leprosarium in Accra. Gifted and talented education to be introduced at the senior high school level in the country. Construction work on sections of Eastern Corridor Road progressing steadily, and DR Congo sentences dozens of militia members to death for their involvement in the murder of 2 UN experts. Hello, you welcome to News Hour live on GBC News, a News and Governance channel. My name is Micheline Taka. We are also live on Facebook and YouTube at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. You're most welcome. The Ghana Lepers Aid Committee has marked the 2022 World Leprosy Day at the Leprosarium in Accra. The special guest was Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. He said cured lepers deserve a dignified life and society must not discriminate, stigmatize or exclude them.
Every last Sunday in January is Leprosy Day. The day, which is an international commemoration, gives the world an opportunity to put the spotlight on people who have had leprosy, raise awareness of the disease, and call for an end to leprosy-related stigma and discrimination. This year's celebration has the theme, United for Dignity, with overriding focus on calls for unity in honoring the dignity of people who have experienced leprosy. This is because people who have or are cured of leprosy face mental well-being challenges due to stigma, discrimination and isolation. But the message for this year's celebration is people who experience leprosy have the right to a dignified life free from disease-related stigma and discrimination. The founder of the Lepers Aid Committee, Ghana, Reverend Father Andrew Campbell, said more must be done to support cured lepers.
I remember one church that I was in some years ago, and I wanted to bring the residents from Waja to the church. And the church elder said, Father, we have first collection that day. The church will be full. We'll send the food to them. I mean, why? Why do we treat people like this? Like, why? Third or fourth grade citizens of Ghana. We shouldn't do that. It's not correct.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, called for attention and care from the Ghanaian society for cured lepers.
When you say love thy neighbor as thyself, it means everybody. The poor, the sick, the vulnerable, the lepers, everybody. These are our neighbors. And if you do exclude them, it means you are not really obeying the commandments of God.
According to the Lepers Aid Committee, there are about 700 cured lepers in the 5 regions of the north who need attention and care. Dr. Bawumia donated 50,000 Ghana cedis to support the activities of the Lepers Aid Committee.
The Dean of Cathedral Church of the Most Holy Trinity Anglican Diocese of Accra, Very Reverend Dr. George Kotai-Nikwe, has been ordained as the suffragan Bishop of Accra at the Episcopal Ordination Consecration Service in Accra, which had the Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia in attendance. The Bishop of the Anglican Diocese of Highveld, South Africa, Right Reverend Charles Mthelelele May, said this is a call to a higher service and prayed for God's strength and power for Reverend Nikwe to perform creditably in his new office. Ordained as a priest in 1987, Very Reverend Dr. George Kotai-Nikwe served in many parishes and was appointed canon in 2006. He also became the Archdeacon of the Accra Northeast and the Dean of the Cathedral Church of the Most Trinity, Very Reverend Dr. Nikwe, will assist the Anglican Bishop of Accra. In a sermon, the Bishop of the Anglican Diocese of Highveld, South Africa, Right Reverend Charles M. Tetelele May, said, all have been called to render service to God. He said, God who has called him will grant Very Reverend Dr. Nikwe the grace to be diligent in his work.
God calls him to a life lived for the sake of God's mission in the world. So you have been called and being empowered, being anointed by God for God's mission in the world.
Very Reverend Dr. Nikwe swore an oath to conform to the doctrines of the Anglican Church.
I believe that with the people of Tema and everybody around, and the committee that has been created to create Tema Diocese, together, if we work, we will be able to build Tema to the glory and praise of the Lord Almighty.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Baumia, urged Ghanaians, especially Christians, to be good ambassadors of the country.
I wish you all the best in your endeavors. I would also urge us all to be good ambassadors for our various countries. And I know that many people from different countries are here, and also to pray for the good and peace of our nation, Ghana, and the West African sub-region. The prayers of the righteous availeth much.
Very Reverend Dr. Nikwe was born on March 25, 1959. He earned his certificate in ministry and diploma in theology in 1986. He has lectured at the Trinity Theological Seminary and also served as the vice president of the seminary. Very Reverend Nikwe is also an external examiner for the University of Cape Coast. The Minister for Education, Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum, says stakeholder consultations are ongoing for the introduction of gifted and talented education at the senior high school level in the country. This category of education will pay particular attention to students with high IQ compared to their peers and build on their knowledge to help solve the socio-economic challenges confronting the country. At a media briefing in Accra, Dr. Osei-Duchum said the program has proved successful in some countries.
Research, it is identified that 10% of every population is gifted or talented. 10%. So some countries have capitalized on that. Hong Kong, United States, South Korea, and say, hey, if this 10% have natural born traits and research showing that they are talented or gifted, why don't we give them special attention so that they will be the one that will innovate and develop our nation? And those countries that have done that have seen innovation going through the roof. These are talented, gifted individuals just sitting there and saying, can you help me? Can you allow my talent to come out so that I can help this nation? And because you're not doing this in the classroom, I'm stepping out, I'm going to do my solar-powered bike just from my head. So imagine if somebody was guiding him. That student will have developed something even more advanced than the solar-powered bike. That is where education should be. And stakeholder consultations are ongoing, consulting many people with great ideas in that space to ensure that we can come to a point that we have gate schools and we have gate programs in our schools. And children are being supported to bring about innovation.
Also at that media briefing, Dr. Yao Osei-Duchum said 6 new science, technology, engineering and mathematics schools will be opened this year across the country. These schools will be dedicated to the teaching and learning of only STEM programs. According to Dr. Osei-Duchum, Ghana is taking keen interest in STEM education because only 12 to 15% of students at the senior high school level are pursuing science, hence the need to concentrate more on STEM education to whip up the interest of students in science and mathematics.
When we talk about introducing STEM education and constructing high schools focusing on STEM, it's about how do we make sure that our children have the skill set to operate in the 21st century as we talk about the fourth industrial revolution and what they need to do and need to know. So this year I'm excited that we're going to open 6 new schools focusing on STEM. The rest of the STEM schools will be completed, will be open in 2023.
On the abandoned Eblock Senior High School that were constructed under former President John Mahama, Dr. Osei Educhum said contrary to that notion, the Akufo-Addo administration has expanded most of the community day Eblock Senior High Schools into boarding schools to accommodate more students.
I've always been on record as saying that the E-blocks, where they were located in urban areas, was the best investment any government could make. You go to Dome-Kwabinya, the E-block that was placed there is packed with students. We've added a 2-story block and it's full. GMPC has built a 6-classroom block, it's also full. Excellent location. But when I go to the E-block, located at Drobonso, 2 miles away from Drobonso town, no electricity in the middle of the forest. And I say that this is Drobonso Community Senior High School. Something is wrong. So the president directed that we needed to add dormitory blocks. As I speak with you, I've been told that we are at about 95% completion, and we are pushing to get the girls' dormitory and boys' dormitory all completed so that we can open the school. We are doing the same at a number of community senior high schools so that it could be operationalized well.
Away from that press conference, construction work on sections of the Eastern Corridor Road spanning Have, Hohoi and Esukuma Junction in the Volta region has resumed and progressing steadily. The deplorable road network has over the years been a major concern to residents in communities along that stretch. The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, who inspected the progress of work, urged the constructors to complete the project on time to enhance socio-economic activities in that area.
The Eastern Corridor Road project will connect the national capital Accra to the northern parts of the country. When completed, it will be the shortest route from the south to the north of the country. As a commercial north-south corridor, it is renowned for the transportation of especially agricultural farm produce, including maize, cassava, rice, and yam from the vast arable land in the regions the road passes through. The Esukuma-Hohoi stretch has been placed under government cocoa project, which is being funded by the Cocoa Board. The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, inspected works on the Have-Hohoi stretch, which is being undertaken by a Chinese firm, Greenhouse Construction International, and the Esukuma-Peve portion, which has been re-awarded to Ghanaian firm Fair Sky Construction Limited after the previous contractor abandoned site. A 6-kilometer Peve-Have stretch in between the 2 separate projects is yet to be re-awarded after abrogation of the previous contract. On the Have-Hohoi stretch, Dr. Archibald Lecha was not happy about the slow pace of work by the Chinese firm Greenhouse Construction. The site engineer said delays in payment of contract sum has led to the slow pace of work. He gave the assurance that the entire project will be completed by the end of August this year. Dr. Lecha was, however, impressed with the progress of work on the Esukuma-Peve portion of the project being undertaken by the Ghanaian firm Fair Sky Construction Limited, which is about 30% complete. Mr. Eric Sadia Kutoche is a contractor on site.
And get the asphalt to the end of our road and then and they move all the traffic on that one. All right. So there will not be any issue watering.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Fair Sky Construction Limited, Mr. Oliver Akwatechi, gave the assurance that the entire project will be completed within the 24-month schedule.
We are going to complete this work in time according to the schedule within the 24 months time that we have earmarked to complete this work. The assurance is born out of our previous successes. Last year, we were able to hand over 7 projects all across the country where we are working with. And this year, too, we have earmarked to complete about 3 of our major projects.
The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Achibalecha, who was enthused with the level of progress on the stretch, commended the contractor for his efforts. He said plans are far advanced to re-award the 6-kilometer per harvest stretch to First Sky Construction Limited.
Some of us, we are not engineers, but we can see that is progressing well. In fact, they are doing very well, and we are very much satisfied with what is going on here, from the Skuma section to Kwebe.
The first artificial reproductive technology department to assist people with fertility issues will soon be operational at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi. The facility will be fully funded from the hospital's internally generated funds at a cost of 450,000 Ghana cedis. At an inspection tour of the facilities, the chief executive of the hospital, Dr. Oheneba Owusu-Danso, said the establishment of the department will provide affordable services to clients.
Issues of fertility has been a challenge to many couples who want to have children, and majority of them have gone through some health processes for results, but to no avail. The establishment of the fertility center at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital will provide patients with utmost care. The center is expected to be commissioned by the end of the first quarter of this year. The hospital has already ordered the equipment components of the facility from Britain. Some staff of the hospital are also in South Africa undergoing training to manage the facility to meet international standards. On a tour of the hospital, work has begun on the dialysis center, the psychiatric department, and a hostel to accommodate relatives whose patients are on admission at the accident and emergency centers. The hostel, to be managed on build, operate and transfer, is about 90% complete and would be ready in June this year. The cleft treatment and training center was also inspected. The chief executive of the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, Dr. Owusu-Danso, commended the contractors for progress of work. He expressed worry about lack of available land space for expansion of infrastructure to manage some health cases.
This facility is costing the contractor 5.1 million Ghana cedis, and it's a build, operate and transfer project, which is covering a period of, I think, 24 years. Yes. He will operate it, recover the investments, and after 24 years, hand over to the management of Komfanochi Teaching Hospital.
Well, if you missed some of the past week's major stories, here's an opportunity to catch up in pictures. You're welcome back. Dozens of militia members have been sentenced to death in the Democratic Republic of Congo for their involvement in the murder of 2 UN experts, Swedish-Chilean Zaida Catalan and American Michelle Sharp, were kidnapped and killed in the Kasai region in 2017. They were investigating alleged mass graves after a fight broke out between government forces and a militia group. Their interpreter, Bitu Chintela, was also killed. Their bodies were found 16 days after being kidnapped. Catalan had been beheaded. The UN was shocked by the murders, and at the time, the Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the organization would do everything possible to ensure that justice is done. Out of the dozens of defendants, 51, almost all militia members, were sentenced to death. But DR Congo has declared a moratorium on executions. The sentences will likely end up being life imprisonment. Congolese JeanMarc Cabon has been expelled from the president's party. JeanMarc Cabon served as the leader of the Union for Democracy and Social Advancement, UDPS, since Félix Tshisekedi was sworn in as president of the Democratic Republic of Congo back in 2019. JeanMarc Cabon was a key ally of President Tshisekedi's historic opposition party in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
The decision for JeanMarc Cabon to be expelled came as a Convention Democratique ruled on the disciplinary inquiry that was aimed at Cabon. His refusal to appear before a disciplinary commission amid accusations of swindle and extortion are some of the complaints recorded against him. On January 14, he advised of his intent to resign from his position as first vice president of the National Assembly. Reports say the Secretary General of the party is yet to approve of the sanctions that have been put on JeanMarc Cabon, while President Tshisekedi, who holds the authority in the party, will confirm the decision.